This will come back as being a outstanding victory for us for many reasons. Number one, that's an outstanding team. And they've won their league 3 out of 4 times. I certainly wouldn't bet against them this year. They've got experience, they've got depth, they've got inside play, they've got three-point shooting, they've got tremendous driving ability. Purifoy, it is ridiculous how good he is, getting to the basket and reading plays. They have, you can tell, and I already know how good of a coach Steve Peichel is. I mean, it's obvious to me. I mean, he's a guy that, it doesn't matter what level he's at, he's a high-level coach, and a very high-level coach, and has coaches with intensity, is creative and innovative. I mean, you can see all that in what they run. But what they are is they are extremely disciplined to what they want to get done. And they had a game plan that if we would have not attacked and got the ball reversed and settled on any side of the court, it would have been a problem for us. The ball had to move today. Bodies had to move. We had to there was going to be times it was maybe get down into the clock a little bit so we could get that movement that we needed, get the ball back in Yogi's hands maybe, or get it inside. We wanted to score very early in the clock, or we wanted to make sure we got some reversals. The last thing we wanted to do was settle. And it wasn't a perfect game by any stretch, not even close. We did some excellent things offensively. We did some things with missing free throws, not so good. But what we did is we figured out that the intensity and the energy level cannot wane. And if it does, you're not going to be in the game. And one of the key parts of this game was Colin Hartman coming back in the first half. And I learned a long time ago that when you're trying to change momentum, because we'd hit a lull. We had hit a lull up, we were a little quiet, we were flat, you know, whether we were getting disappointed they were missing foul shots, whether we thought it should be easier, whatever it was, whatever a young team goes through, we'd hit a lull. And Colin came in and changed the energy level. And so it's a great example. It does not matter who it is, when it is, where it is, there's always somebody that can change momentum. And I thought Colin Hartman did that in the first half. And one of the reasons is because he never stopped talking on that bench. And never stopped talking. I mean, he was asking questions, he's constantly pointing things out to his teammates. That's what we have to have. That's how you grow up and learn, and we have to have it from everybody. Second half was much better for us, especially on the backboards. We were only up 3 on the boards, and we had 4 offensive rebounds at halftime. And that can't happen. That can't happen. I mean, we're going to find out if rebounding's a strength because we're getting ready to go on the road. And it's not a strength unless it travels. And it's not a strength unless you can do it against the best people. So we've certainly got the components of being really good at some things. We've got the components of having a deep team. We certainly have the talent. But will we continue to understand how important intensity and intelligence are? And then you can play on your instincts and grow from there. But the game that Yogi played, 2 best games he's played in Indiana, because number one, they're back-to-back, that he really played the same way. He played way more minutes than what I would have liked today, but that's just the way that it was. But he is continually trying to find what the game has given his teammates and then what the game is giving him. And he's playing defense at an extremely high level. And all of us, he's doing a great job of figuring out what we have to do to win that possession. Doesn't mean we're always going to win it, but to win that possession, to get the best shot, the best movement inside of that possession. All of a sudden he's got 50 points in 2 games. And if he continues to do that, because he is, it's not like we're going to go down the line and well, all of a sudden he'll be the focal point on another team's scouting report. He's already there. I mean, he's already at the top of the list. I put him there. And you have to, when you have that attention being paid to you, it's not always going to be the way you want it. You got to figure out how you can get it where it needs to be, and he's doing that. Noah, JD just told us all in there hasn't been a triple-double here for 40 years.
Triple-double, yeah.
Yeah, but Noah's got 2 in my mind because he had 15 deflections today again. And Troy came and had 12. So we had I think we had 63 on the day. We had 2 guys, 2 freshmen in double figures. And deflections, that's a huge, huge deal for what we're doing. Evan Gordon did a great job. They were isolating him in the first half. And as I told him, nobody's going to get isolated on this team, let alone a senior, in the sense of being attacked off the dribble. And he did a much better job in the second half of figuring that out. And all of a sudden in 2 games, he's got 22 points because he's attacking the rim, made his 3 today. He's working very hard. He's got to continue to bring a high level of intensity and competitiveness to everything that he does, and continue to bring the verbal up. It's got to come up for him to continue to grow the way that he has, or the way that he is. And all of a sudden, Troy Williams is got the second best high or plus minus on our team. And that's strong. That's strong when you're a freshman. He makes a lot of plays. He makes a lot of things happen. He's getting better right before our eyes, your eyes, everybody's eyes daily. And there's really no limit to him. Luke Fisher came in the second half. Our best lineup in the first half was the one we started at the beginning of the second half. They'd scored 7 of 8 possessions they were in together. And so we liked the energy of it. We went with that lineup in the second half. It's not about who starts. It's not about necessarily, who gets what minutes. It's who's going to figure out a way for us to win. And then it's a lot more about who finishes the game. And I thought that second half starting lineup really gave us some good things. So I could go on and on, but I'm sure you got questions. So I'll open it up.
Zach?
Just what has it meant, not just the rebounding, but being able, I guess, to establish Noah early the last couple games? It seems like getting him the ball in good positions offensively has been maybe less of a challenge than it was at the beginning of the year.
Well, I think some of it's him. I think it has to go in, okay, first and foremost. And I think I said this the other day, but on Tuesday night, we had 9 post-ups in 40 minutes. I said, we're going to have 9 post-ups in the first 8 or 9 minutes. And we continue to do that. I think now what he's got to continue to do, because the double teams came, they're going to come from different angles. He's going to start to be scouted at an even higher level. And so he's got to be quicker with his moves, but the bottom line is he's demanding the ball with his body. Soon he'll be demanding the ball verbally, but he's demanding the ball with his body. Because if he knows if he doesn't demand the ball, I'm going to take him out of the game, because he's too good not to do that. And he's learning the offense, he's learning what we want to get after timeouts, he's learning what has to happen next. Like he took a 3, I want him to shoot 3s, but not when they can't guard you. And that's where he should have drove the ball to the post, or drove the ball into the lane. He's still learning a lot of different things, but I think what's helped him too is Hunter is establishing that we can go in there and make things happen. Luke is going to establish that we can go inside to him. And Jeremy needs to continue to establish that. And then I think you saw tonight when we posted Yogi in different situations. So there's a lot of different things we can do to get the ball inside, but the number one premise has got to be it's going in there no matter who it is.
Finally had, I think, 18, 15, he had went to the line 14
And
times.
15.
Right, and 15
forget
deflections, and get a steal on the block. What growth have you seen in his game of the last couple of weeks, and what further growth do you want to see?
Well, I think it's just that he's playing. I think you can see it, and we'll have some setbacks. Believe me. I mean, it's like I said last week. We worked offense 5-on-0 for about an hour and 10 minutes of a 2-hour and 10-minute practice, and we got out there Tuesday night. And we looked like we'd never been together. We looked like we were, coming to play some games at the Hyper, and let's just go run. I mean, we didn't. It's going to take time. I just trying to let them know we don't have a lot of time. We've got to get better every day with it. Well, it's the same with him. He really wants to be great. He's got a tremendous humility. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in that class. And there's a lot of great players and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about upside of what he is capable of, what he's willing to do to get there, and how much he knows he doesn't know at this point. And when you start putting humility into a talented person, now you've got a chance for incredible upside. So I can't give you an answer on where it's going to be. I don't think anybody could. But he's going to continue to expand. He's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to get more comfortable. He's going to continue certainly to get more attention. But and there's things that we're working on with him every day, whether it be post-up wise, rebounding wise, stuff that we want to get off film that people can't scout to. And that's what we want to continue to do. So he's like all of them. There's a lot of room for growth, and he knows it and wants it.
Terry?
I know you're not surprised with Yogi having those kinds of games back-to-back. Is it just his confidence that, that seems to have really come out now?
He said this to him a couple weeks ago. He's going to be as great as his leadership allows him to be. And I think you're seeing that. And there's going to be some nights that he's not going to make shots. There's going to be some nights that he doesn't get a ton of shots. He's got to have the same disposition. He's got a very, very high level disposition on both ends of the court right now. He knows that his defense can fuel his offense. He knows that our defense can fuel our offense. He knows that his offense can fuel his defense. I mean, when you've got the ball in your hands like he does, and I think what he's really, I would think enjoying, but he's gaining a lot from it, is we're moving him around a lot. I mean, he's in a lot of different positions. You know, we always try to move players. Well, as the point guard, we don't have him in just a standard position. That's not the strength of what our program is, and that's not the strength of how we're trying to develop guys. We want the strength to be they can do multiple things at any given time. You know, whether one possession this, one possession, next possession that. So, but he's playing defense at an extremely high level, extremely high. And I think that's the biggest thing, that disposition.
Sean?
Coach, you've harped on the new foul rules, all that kind of stuff over the last couple of games. Did you really kind of see a bit of a difference today? And do you think the guys kind of grasped what that means a little bit more playing this game?
Well, I think it's all part of the process. This is going to take time. I think the bottom line, I think it happened to us today some. The last foul that you had cannot affect your next play. You're trying to figure out, they're trying to figure it out. You know, the referees are trying to figure it all out. I mean, and that's not negative. That's just the way that it is. I mean, that crew. There were a couple things that happened today on the play where Noah got called for a foul when he was laying on the ground. And one of the referees said to me, he said, "You might see that every 10 years." We saw it twice today. There were 2 calls like that. I mean, it's just a different day. I mean, it's just different. And so if you can't adjust to it mentally, and if you can't adjust to it physically, you can't adjust. You have to have both of those things, and it goes for the coaches, it goes for the players, it goes for everybody. And the other team's trying to do the same thing. I had a buddy of mine the other night tell me, he says, "These new rules have got my team all screwed up." You know, it can't. It can't. You got to be able to move right on. And I thought they did a great job tonight, of drawing the contact, creating it, isolating. You know, I think it brings a lot of strategy into the game. And you know, anybody that argues, well, it's not a very pretty game, we just put 90 points on the board again. You know, so I mean, it's going to work out, but we don't have time to sit and think about it in the game. We can't go. You only get so many timeouts, and I'm not really into calling too many of them anyways, because you need them late in the game. And the Michigan thing last year screwed me up because we had 3 timeouts with 54 seconds left, and we took all 3 of those home. So it's like I don't even ever want to call them. So that'll make some fans happy. But bottom line is, if you can't adjust, you're behind in this game, and that's the way that it is right now. And the players that can adjust, and again, it's for everybody. It doesn't matter what your age is, because that went out the window when the new rules came in. So if you can't adjust, it's going to be hard to play, because you've got to be able to move right on, move on to the next thing.
Last question.
I guess since you were talking about it, is that what you were kind of concerned about with Will at the end when you were talking to him after he caught out, maybe that he didn't adjust to what
I didn't. There were certain energy levels all night of guys that I didn't like. And that situation, when you just get right back in, Will's better than that. Will be fine. Will's better than that. But to me, I got to see it on film. So you can't ride the guy out of bounds there. I mean, and I know Will's intent is excellent. Okay, there's no questions about that. But we have high expectations, like I said. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman. It doesn't matter if you're a senior. If I don't hold them accountable for making those adjustments that they can make, well, then what am I? You know what I mean? And so I love every one of them. You know, I love him to death. But I mean, we've got to have more. We needed more from him tonight. And those fouls, it plays with you, and you just can't let it. You got to move right on, and he'll be fine. But I mean, it won't be the last time that will happen to somebody, and we'll just deal with it. But I mean, our whole deal right now is you've got to be. It doesn't matter if you're starting. It doesn't matter if you're coming off the bench. It's play on demand, and when you go in, you absolutely have to be ready to go. Now that's hard for a young team. I get that, but we're also going to keep pushing that constantly. And we had some guys tonight that were ready to go when they went in. We had a couple that weren't, and they just have to learn from it as we go.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? I mean, I answered a couple more. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're going on the road now. It's not a true road test, but it is on the road. What are the keys, especially for a young team, that they have to be able to do to do well?
Well, I think the bottom line is that we can talk about it all week, all right, in the sense that, you know, we're going to New York and lights aren't any brighter, and it's a 94-foot court with 10-foot, you know, from the floor to the rim, but it doesn't make any difference. It's different. okay? So what we've got to do is we've just got to continue to harp on what the identity is, okay? And whether it's the intensity, whether it's the way we get back on defense. I think Washington is going to pose tremendous issues for us because they're going to make it really, really hard for us to get open. They are probably, from what we've seen, as fast at getting the ball out of bounds right now as anybody in the country. And it's what we were a year ago. It's what Carolina has always been. They are going up that court. Okay, so if our transition defense isn't right, if our shot selection isn't right, if our ability and our technique and details of getting open, and we saw some of it tonight, you know, the way they were just catching and making some steals, those are the things. The guys have got to be so ingrained in the fundamentals and execution of screening, passing, cutting, getting back, helping on defense, that you really hope there's not a lot of time to think that the lights are a little brighter in New York. You know what? And as soon as somebody gets out of that mainstream, then we got to make a change, because they got to learn. Because it's not going to be the only time all year that we play in big-time atmospheres against high-level opponents. That's the league we're in. So I can't wait for it personally. And it's going to be a lot of fun to go in there. We're going to have a ton of fans. I think we've got probably as many as anybody right now, and I think there'll be a ton of walk-ups in there. I mean, it felt great for us last year at Barclays. Playing in Brooklyn on that last night, there were so many fans, and it was like a split with Georgetown. It was great, and I hope we have a ton of people there on Thursday. But the bottom line is we've got to go in there and really keep forming our identity of how we play.
Does it make you scratch your head, Coach, when you shoot free throws so well in the opener against Chicago State and then you miss 19 today?
It's the old thing about it being contagious. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, it just is. But what I don't like about that is when we start getting nervous about it, okay? And when we start getting a little quiet, or we short arm our shot. And that's where we got to bring more confidence to each other on the court. You know, we've got to walk up. We've got to make more reminders. I'm trying to yell them, okay? But they know each other's game more and more now. But I'd be far more concerned if we weren't getting the attempts. 49 attempts, we'll take those. So we'll take those. And then that would be the problem. Because what you're doing is every foul you get, you're making it just a little bit harder for that team, and you're climbing into the depth. And so the plus of getting to the line far outweighs the negative of not making them. But the bottom line is we're better than that, and we'll be better than that, and we'll continue to work on it the way we have.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.